People, Deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all doing well and safe this morning. It's 7:30. I've got around, when do I normally leave? 8:15, so let's say 45 minutes. So I thought with Arsenal v Sheffield and the fact that I love you guys and can't stop speaking with you guys, we might as well speak about stuff or just Arsenal things in general. First and foremost, in relation to the Sheffield United game, for me, people, I've previewed it enough times. I've spoken about it with you lot on Twitter. We know what we need to do. Manchester United, I feel first half put a good performance in against Liverpool. End of the day, a draw against Liverpool is not the worst result, especially considering their form. Spurs obviously dropped points with Watford. These are two teams that you'd expect to be in amongst with a fight for the top four together with ourselves and Chelsea. Chelsea won against Newcastle, so they're laughing at the moment because if Arsenal drop points, all their rivals have. We've got to take advantage. Of course, we're not going to win the league and we're definitely not going to finish second, but there's also that carrot of moving up to second in the season in terms of the Premier League table so far this season. And whatever people say there will still be question marks over things like our defending record and our away form, which we can do a good way of beating Sheffield United. What more can you ask for? It's going to be a tough away game under the lights at Bramall Lane. Chris Wilder is a homegrown Sheffield United lad. Forgive me if I'm wrong. So the fans are going to be behind him even more. The players are going to be buzzing. The thought of a giant killing. Obviously at home they play attractive football. They are quite hard to score against. They've only lost by a single goal this season. At home they play a bit more expansive. Away is irrelevant, but they are unbeaten away from home. So if they apply that, what they do away from home, being difficult to break down, with what I see from them at home of being slightly more attractive and difficult to beat, they're going to be a difficult instrument for us to get past. So the carrot of at least shutting up some people temporarily in regards to our away form, getting back to winning ways away from home, because we ain't won since Newcastle. Like I said, it's a difficult challenge. The still City spirit, all of these things coming through that. It's a Monday night. It's going to be cold. I'm sure the players don't want to be there. I know the fans really don't want to be there because we got work and things. I'm not at the game, so it will be a good look and a big confidence boost for me anyways, if we can get through this without any issues, people. The big one is probably Lacazette. Should we start Lacazette? There's reasons for, there's reasons too. For, obviously he gets the best out of Aubameyang. Obviously away from home, because how we typically set up, Aubameyang is likely to be isolated and playing against three centre-halves. Now 1 into 3, you can see how no matter how good you are, if you're not going to be given the service and you're going to be isolated, it's going to be difficult. At least Lacazette, they know how each other works. They get the best out of each other. At the end of the day, it's one of our better attacking players and link-up players on the field. So it's not just looking for Aubameyang to make the difference. But saying that, he's been out for over a month or so. Does it make sense to start him? If he's fit and they've concluded he's ready to start, then I'll do it. But there's also a case for, do you keep him on the bench sort of thing? I think Saka deserves to keep his space. I think if somebody had to drop out because of the fact they're young and that, it'll probably be Saka, but on form it should probably be Pepe. Saka's been one of the best players whenever he's got the opportunity. Aubameyang is scoring goals for fun. I love Pepe and he would stay in the team for me, but he hasn't quite hit the ground running. So potentially, can you take him out for Lacazette? That would potentially be the big one. But hopefully we can win that game, people, and just quite simply leave in good spirits, really and truly. But we'll see at 8 o'clock this Monday. Moving away from that, if you don't remember Arsene Wenger's famous "I'm sorry Rob Holding didn't cost 50 million" talks. Now Holding has said that he enjoyed his response. In fact, his word for word is, "I enjoyed his response and I do use it as motivation that I am who I am and hard work will get me where I want to be." And that's the attitude you need, people. It doesn't matter if you're bought for 5 million or 50 million. If you're a good player, you're a good player. If you work hard, you'll get the rewards, people. I know Wenger's not here, but it's lovely to see that from Holding, because I know he's got Emery's confidence. Needs to earn his spot back, but he's got Emery's confidence, had the confidence of a previous manager. We just want Holding to stay fit, and if he stays fit, there's no reason, for me, obviously the Arsenal bias, why he can't be called up for England. No disrespect to Tomori, because Tomori's been great, but Tomori's been playing in the Prem 5 minutes and got called up. No disrespect to him because he deserves it. I'm not criticising Tomori at all. I'm just saying if Holding plays, gets a run of form, that could potentially be him, because Southgate knows about you. I definitely feel away from Tomori because Tomori's a good centre-half. I feel if Michael Keane can get it, not just holding, but it opens the door to a lot of centre-halves because I don't think much of him and I don't feel he's necessarily warranted that call-up, really. So hopefully he can get fit. And you're hoping that between holding outsiders in Saka and Joe Willock, unlikely, you're hoping one of our players can get into the Euro 2020 squad because you don't really see too many Arsenal players with England at this moment in time. So fingers crossed. Dani Ceballos allegedly, according to I can't even say their name, El Desmarque is a Spanish publication. Apparently, Dani Ceballos is ready to push to sign for Arsenal permanently after being told in a meeting with Florentino Perez he doesn't have a future. Now, how much I'm likely to believe that, I'm not too sure because I do think if they don't want him as part of their future, they don't. There's talk of Pogba, there's talk of other players to rebuild. But for me, you've got someone 23 years of age, plays on a regular basis for the Spanish country. He hasn't really hit the heights in the Premier League this season, but if he puts it up a level and he plays consistently, he goes off to the Euros and he has a decent Euros, surely you might look at him in a different light. Can he be a player with Asensio, with Vinicius Jr. and all of these young players to take us to the next level in the future? Who knows? That's where I would be looking at it. And if you do want to sell him, surely it wouldn't make sense to, obviously, because right now he might be, I'd rate him about 35 to 40, at a push 50 million to get it done permanently because of his form. If he starts playing well, these fees get priced up and then that equals more money for Real Madrid to obviously bring in and redistribute to other targets. So I'm not too sure. Ceballos, like Pepe, I think Ceballos has settled in. I don't feel Ceballos has been poor. I think you see Ceballos, he likes to break the lines. He's played all right in the opportunities he's got. I'd give him a 6 out of 10 for his time at Arsenal so far. But you do feel there's a lot more to come. I do think he's still adapting and all of these things and there's a bit more he can do. But I also feel tactically there's not much he can do. Purely because you rarely see Joe Willock, obviously Mesut Ozil's a different case, and Ceballos, they're three creative midfielders. Rarely are they all on the field. Rarely do we play to their strengths or to our attacking strengths. And very rarely do these sort of men complete 90 minutes. It does seem like Emery has a bit of a handbrake when it comes to creative midfielders and would much rather prefer a flat midfield three. There's more to come from Ceballos, but right now, if his loan spell was to end tomorrow, I don't feel too many Arsenal fans, despite the fact that they like his technical ability, would bemoan the fact. For me, I do think there's a lot more to come. We still got to remember whether you're in this Premier League for a year or not, he's still adapting. So hopefully he improves and whatnot. I think he's had a solid start, but there's still more to come, people, man. I haven't watched it, but I've got it recorded, similar to Leipzig's game. Saliba apparently for Saint Etienne against Bordeaux had a bit of a stormer, really, to put it nicely, people. His statistics in that game read 83 pass accuracy. He won 1 tackle, 3 interceptions, 2 clearances, 3 aerials won, and made 41 passes. Now for an 18-year-old, that is very I think they won 1-0, but that's very encouraging. I do think we have to calm down with Saliba. And I'm saying that to myself, people. I find it hard. The man is 18, 6'4", described as a footballing nerd, such as his hunger to improve. Can play centre-half and right-back. Obviously, like I've said, a physical specimen, lovely technical abilities in relation to the modern-day centre-half, bringing it out from the back and all of these sort of things. I think we need to be careful because as great as he is in his potential, we need to remember he's still a young man. He's going to learn tough and harsh lessons both in his last season in France in that division and also when he comes to Arsenal. And although I didn't watch the game, this is what you want to hear from your lad, people. Like, this is what we want, man. Next season, we want to see Holding and Saliba. Hopefully a more experienced centre-half comes in and we move with that. And in terms of the future, Saliba, Holding, Tierney, Bellerin and Leno, you look what there's no reason that can't be your defence for at least 3 to 6 years. I say 6 because it'll probably be broken up by then, but at least for 3 to 4 years that should be the pillar of your team. And if we can get a pillar defensively, short term this season and long term, then everything else should click into place from you get the defensive aspects right. That's just me. So a lovely performance from him. Obviously, our loney Eze Nnketia came off the bench at half-time, I believe, in Leeds' game. They won 1-0. Calvin Phillips scored. Apart from a couple good touches, neat touches, and a couple good passes, admittedly, in the footage I've seen, Eddie didn't really do too much, but there's not much he can do in the minutes he's been getting. Bamford is this preferred striker for whatever reason, whether that's experience, his record or whatever, and it's kind of costing Eddie. And now Eddie's just got to wait for his opportunity to get his first championship start, and he's just got to seize it with both hands. Bielsa has more or less taken full responsibility if Eddie Nketiah doesn't achieve what he can achieve at least this season, by talking up his abilities and saying it's his fault. But seeing is believing. We're in October, a couple of weeks, and then it's November. I was about to say December. Then it's November. So we're really going to look at it, because in January, come January the 1st, we probably got to look to recall him and either sending him to Bristol or, with the injuries this season, utilising him of such. So there's that. What else is there? Saka's had something to say, people, and he said, in relation to competing with Lacazette, if one player is injured, then others get an opportunity. And I want everyone to come back and do their best for Arsenal. It's always good to have our best players available. All of us competing makes us push and play better and better. Whatever game Emre puts me in, I'll always give my all. I'm just trying to go out there, do my best, play without fear and doubt. If the boss trusts me to do it, I will do it. And that's what I love to hear from the freshly turned 18-year-old, because it doesn't matter about technical ability and all of these things for a reason. You've got to be brave. You've seen Saka, Frankfurt away in Europa League. You've seen him play against United, Old Trafford. Fair enough, it's not Manchester United of old, but many players would sink. Many experienced players have sunk at Old Trafford, and he was one of our best, if not the best player from an Arsenal perspective. That night, Guendouzi, him, probably Aubameyang as well. And that's all you can do. We still recognise, or I recognise, Saka's a young man. He's going to have good games. He's going to have bad games. Right now, everything he touches turns to gold. There's nothing he can do wrong. And his age is irrelevant, because he's earned his space through consistency. And he's given Emre trust. There's a left wing position, and he's seized it. And he's complicated matters, because we was talking about Pepe, Aubameyang and Lacazette. Now I'm making videos 4-4-2. How you get Saka in? What does Saka mean for Pepe, Lacazette and whatnot? And that's what you want to hear. First and foremost, clearly Saka realises he's got a long way to go before he's going to be anything in the game of note. He clearly recognises he's still a young player. But there's no reason, and quite rightly so, why he shouldn't be confident. That's the level you got to get to a degree. It's same as Joe Willett. You got to forget that it's Ceballos and Guendouzi and all these man. You got to think that you can cut it at this club. You got to think that you can do a job, if not as better than them, when you get that opportunity. So it's lovely to hear Saka believe in himself. It's lovely to hear that I'll describe that as humble but confident. He's humble. He recognises he's not the bee's knees, but there's no reason not to be confident in his abilities. And I love to hear that, playing with fearlessness. And credit to Emery for giving players like Saka the authority to go out there and be fearless. If you make a mistake, it happens. Just go out there and give your all. The only thing I want you to come back in to this changing room at half-time or the end of the game with, as a young player to Saka, is if you can look, that what I would say is, if you can look in the mirror knowing that you gave your all, then you can sleep at night. If you didn't, then cool. And we always bang on about young players getting chances, and generally in football, not enough young players are being given chances. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to take them. Saka is taking them. It's difficult for young players to get chances, much less start a league game at Old Trafford away from home. And he's been quality. He's got a long way to go. He's going to go through tough patches as a professional footballer, just because that's what they all go through. But let's just let him develop and see what happens, people. Away from that, and finally to wrap this off, I saw some stats courtesy of the Twitter account Obino, and it said Arsenal have conceded more penalties than any other team since Unai Emery took over, which is 10. Arsenal have conceded 16 penalties in the previous 2 seasons, and have conceded from 40 of the last 42 penalties generally, which shows our keepers can't save anything really. Our passing accuracy is also at the lowest level since 2006-2007. This campaign it stands at 76%. Last season it was 78%. Under Wenger in his last 6 or 7 seasons, it was at 80%. In relation to shots allowed, Manchester City have only allowed 6.9 shots per game, which isn't the best in division. The Premier League average for all teams is 12.8. Apparently, we've allowed 136, which only Norwich and Aston Villa have allowed more attempts on our goal. So that shows you defensively we've still potentially got a long way to go, and several other things. In relation to how we're passing as a team, it's not necessarily the best. 2 things which we are seeing. I was going to do this in another vid, but there's no point, people. You know me, I like young players, and I'm always going to keep my eye open to young players. And I came across a couple this weekend. Pedri of Las Palmas continues his good goal scoring form as a 16-year-old. He's obviously scored, got 2 assists, against Deportivo La Coruña, and I believe he signed for Barcelona permanently. He's 16 and he's playing alright for them, people. He scored against Gijón. He's played well against Albacete, against Genoa, against Peñafrendina, against CD Lugo. Can't pronounce none of them names. It's also nice to see Chelsea's Conor Gallager scoring goals. He scored quite a hit for Charlton at the weekend. I know he plays for Chelsea, but I felt Callum Hudson-Odoi had a very encouraging performance personally for Chelsea against Newcastle. And for me, he's one that goes to the Euros. Rayan Cherki, a young player I told you a lot about time ago. Him and Unova for me would be the players I'll be trying to get at this club. He was on the bench for Lyon and he made his debut this weekend for Lyon, I believe, in this 0-0 draw against Dijon. Now he's 16, he's played well in the youth gen last season. He can play in a couple of further advanced roles. He is very much a creative player and he seems very much the latest one to come off the conveyor belt at Lyon. He rejected a big move to United, and United have got that other lad from Monaco, that French lad, and he looks sick. If they got him, United fans would be licking their lips at such a prospect, because I believe this lad is going all the way to the top. So it was nice to see him make his debut for Lyon, and I believe he's made a bit of history. He's the first player born in 2003 to debut for the club, and he's also in their history the second youngest league debutant at 16 years of age and 63 days old. So it's good for him. Former Arsenal player that's now at Brentford, Josh De Silva, scored at the weekend for Brentford, in which it was quite the dramatic game, people. I believe they won 3-2 at Griffin Park. They were 2-0 down against Millwall in the final 10 minutes. So it's good to see from him. Another player made a video about Fabio Silva, became Porto's youngest ever goal scorer in a competitive fixture this weekend at 17 years of age and 92 days old. Now, I've seen him play for Portugal at youth level, and I've seen him play well against Chelsea and Spurs at youth level, and he looks like he's a young striker with all the potential in the world. He's quite strong, very good at bringing others into play, obviously got an eye for goal. So it's nice to see him do his thing. Who else have we got to speak about? It was obviously nice to see Jude Bellingham playing in Birmingham's defeat. That 16-year-old is going to be a good player, and I hope if he joins Arsenal one day, because he looks quite the player, people. And it's lovely to see him playing for Birmingham week in, week out, because again, by the time he's 20, how many career appearances is he going to have? Around 100 or so, and he's still going to be young, and you can't underestimate how much experience that gives you. Finally, as well, a player I've made a video about already. He plays for England at under-20s level. I'm not sure if he's at under-21s now, but Eze-Nathan, 21 years of age, of Nigerian descent, English youth international, can play on either flank as well as up front. Lovely dribbler, and you think he's someone within the next season or so, a Premier League club might take a chance on him. Before I praise his attacking talents, I like his resilience. He's been released by Millwall. He's been released by like 3 clubs prior to becoming a professional footballer, people. And he's shown resilience. I like his resilience and his attitude. Very strong dribbler with a ball, very skillful. His end product can improve, but he is someone that can relieve the pressure off your team away from home with his dribbling ability. He's very good. And if you saw his dribble against Hull, did it result in winning a penalty? I'm sure it did. Got the ball from his own half, carried it, dancing past players. It was a lovely effort. And in that game, he completed 7 dribbles, had 5 shots, had 5 shot assists. I don't know what statistic that is from Scouting Football on Twitter, but that's what they've said. 5 shot assists, 4 shots, won 4 fouls, won 2 penalties, and obviously he scored 2 penalties. And he deserves that, man. He won 2 penalties. His dribbling was quite good, and he's someone I believe people would take a chance on. Admittedly, still waiting for him to have that real purple patch, but I do think the 21-year-old is doing all he can to get a move. No disrespect at all to QPR. Also, shout out to Jeremy Frimpong of Celtic, who's left Man City and got an assist at the weekend for Celtic. And also, it was nice to see Iwobi in the 10 position against West Ham in Everton's 2-0 victory. What a hit that was by Sigurdsson. But Iwobi looked free in that cam position. He looked like he was doing his thing. Shout out to Walcott, because I think Walcott put in work in that game. And saw that shot that cannoned off the crossbar. No, it didn't go in, but it hit the crossbar. I mean, they were on crud that day, and Everton needed to give their fans a performance, or certain players wouldn't play again. Potentially the manager could have got clipped that weekend or last weekend, but I've got nothing more to add, people. So all I can do is say thank you for watching and rocking. Hopefully Arsenal do the business at 8 o'clock later today. But for now, I've got to go to work and get on the central line, people. Thank you for watching and rocking as usual. Deluded. I'm out.